Britain's manufacturers are showing signs of a slowdown in growth as the boost to exporters from the weak pound is offset by rising production costs and fears over Brexit. Sterling's depreciation was widely expected to benefit manufacturers as their goods become more competitively priced for foreign buyers. However, the cost of imported materials used in the production process has also risen, hitting a 6-month high last month, according to a closely watched barometer of factory sentiment. The MarketSIP's UK manufacturing PMI index showed activity fell to 55.9 last month from 56.7 in August, as firms were hit by the rising cost of commodities. There was also a shortage of some materials such as plastics and steel. Although the reading was below city expectations, the figure is still above the 50 mark that separates expansion from contraction. But the survey of purchasing executives in more than 600 industrial companies points to weaker growth in the UK economy. Rob Dobson, the director at Ismarket, which compiles the survey, said although it looks as if the sector made solid progress through the third quarter as a whole, the growth slowdown in September is a further sign that momentum is being lost across the broader UK economy. While the report showed gains in new orders to be slower than in the prior month, companies reported that demand remained solid in both domestic and overseas markets. But the rising cost of commodities and the weak pound pushing up the price of other raw materials damaged optimism in the industrial sector. Scotiabank's Alan Clark said the figures were disappointing, but far from a weak reading on the UK economy. In the big scheme of things, this is reasonably in keeping with what we have seen over the past year, he said. Similar to other increasingly globalized economies, the UK manufacturing sector has expanded its use of materials sourced overseas in recent years. While this can help reduce production costs, it exposes factories to risks arising from movements in sterling. Sterling remains 10% below its level before the Brexit vote. Official data on Friday showed the UK economy grew at a slower pace than first thought in July, putting Britain at the bottom of the G7 growth table just as the Bank of England looks ready to raise the cost of borrowing for the first time in a decade. The weak reading from the manufacturing sector may discourage the bank from hiking the cost of borrowing. Threadneedle Street will be looking at other data over the coming month before its Monetary Policy Committee makes a decision on interest rates in November. The state of the Brexit negotiations, where progress has been slow, has been putting businesses off investing in their UK operations. Recent readings on economic growth showed investment by companies to be flat in the second quarter. However, some are putting money into the UK economy as the weak pound makes British products more competitive on the global market. The automotive supplier Bros, which employs about 1,000 people at 2 factories in Coventry, is opening a new £10 million paint plant with the creation of about 30 new jobs. The German and company's plant will be able to paint about 3.5 million seats a year for UK customers, including those of Jaguar Land Rover, Nissan, and Toyota. Bros is committed to growing our UK operation, said Jürgen Saal, the managing director of its UK arm. Philip Hammond, the Chancellor, could use his forthcoming budget to boost business investment, according to Lee Hopley, the chief economist at EVE, the manufacturers' organization. Government action in the forthcoming budget to spur companies to commit to investment in the UK will be a priority, she said. Meanwhile, the Eurozone is leaping ahead. Ismarket's manufacturing PMI for the single currency bloc hit a record high for September, as conditions strengthened to the greatest extent in over 6.5 years. The survey came in for 58.1 in the Eurozone, slightly below expectations among economists. Samuel Toombs, the chief UK economist at the Pantheon Macroeconomics Consultancy, said UK manufacturers are riding on the coattails of their counterparts in the booming Eurozone, but they increasingly are being held back by weak domestic demand.